Good evening, everybody. Welcome to, you already know what it is. If you're tuned in already, it's 8 o'clock. Actually, a special day because typically we come on Tuesdays, but we got you a special double header this week. We have us two special guests. So one tonight, and then you can tune into our regular time tomorrow. We have another special guest. So I'm excited about this one as well because she has been here before. But before we get to her, let's go ahead and introduce who we are. Of course, I am Ms Maggie T of the Ladies of AFN. As you know, if you're tuning in from the Facebook, come on over to the Atlanta Falcons Nation YouTube. Join the conversation with us in chat. And who do I have next to me?
You already know it's your girl Whitney J from the A, ready to slay. And we got a special guest today. It's a little background noise because I'm a mama.
That's right. Look, I'm telling you, that's one thing about sports women. You know, we got to multitask here. So while the guys can get up and brush their hair and put on a suit and go on about their business, us mamas got to kind of take care and make sure little Johnny is all right to go to the game. Okay, that's how we do it around here. Let's give a shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Just Be Inspirational said this is going to be amazing. Thank you. Rise Up, Sugar, whoever that is, a new name there. Okay, thank you. Sherman Wood, what's good, family? Xavier Littman, how you doing? And then American Eagle Jew, rise up. So what I'm going to tell you is go ahead and share this content out because the special guest you are familiar with. So I'm pretty sure you get some of your sources from this lady. And we're going to go ahead and introduce who she is. Let's go ahead and bring in, well, first, I'll give her a proper introduction. 1 second here. So you might have seen this floating around. I think this is a great accomplishment of this person. Let's everybody give her her flowers, her hand claps, everything else that goes with it. So as you can see, we do have the one, the only senior reporter for the Atlanta Falcons directly, people. We do have Miss Tori. Miss Tori, let me get this thing off the screen and introduce how you doing.
Hello.
You already know we got to give you a proper introduction. It's a little bit different how we do it here. We focus it on you because typically we see you interviewing or we hear you in the locker rooms or those press conferences asking your questions. So to have you here is an honor for us as we are the voice of the fan. So how are you today, Miss Tori?
I'm doing good. You know, it's been a very, very busy off season already. And I'm just glad that we've kind of hit a lull in things before the combine picks back up at the end of February. So feeling pretty good.
Whew. So that's what I'm saying. Me and the ladies are wondering, should we extend our shows? Because it seems like there's just nonstop things that are getting ready to come. We just had the Senior Bowl. We have, oh my goodness, just so much going on. So we may still be here, ladies, throughout the next couple of weeks. Because I know Pam is big on the mock drafts things. And, you know, there's a call out for us to do a mock draft on the show. So we'll get with Big Coach about that one.
Coach Unchanged, yep.
And introduce yourself, Miss Pam, since you kind of got in a little late.
Better known as Auntie Pam. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm usually say happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Happy Monday to everybody.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into our just a little bit about yourself, Tori. I guess give us a little brief bio of your career, just a bit, and then we'll get into some questions in a moment. Just where you come from, because man, I've been following you since. Not necessarily out of college, but definitely your journalism career.
Yeah, very. So I'm originally from Chickamauga, Georgia, which is about 20 minutes outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. I went to the University of Georgia, graduated in May 2018, and I've been working in Atlanta ever since. I started my career with MLB.com. I was an associate reporter for them, and then I was hired by The Athletic and spent 3 years with The Athletic covering Georgia Tech for a little while, but a lot of people knew me because I covered the Falcons for about a year and a half. And then in 2021, the Falcons hired me to be their in-house reporter. So instead of working for The Athletic covering the Falcons, I am in-house covering the Falcons for the team. So it's a little bit different, but I've been doing that now for going on 4 years, and I'm really, really happy with that decision. And I love my coworkers, and I love working for the organization, and it's been really great. It's been a really great 4 years.
You have your schedule full though. These amazing interviews you've been having, like the last one with Jeff. Are you still co-hosting the Rise Up Tonight show?
Yes, yeah, I am. Well, we do those in season every single Friday night or Thursday night now during the season. And yeah, they have me doing a little bit of everything. I was saying before we started that, I mean, I'm just kind of all over the place, always busy, always doing stuff. So I was really happy that y'all asked me to come on and chat.
Yes, I said I had to grab you while you're still active, because I know Tori likes to take vacations and disappear for a while, because it's like I need that time alone, because I don't talk about the Falcons for quite some time, and I can imagine being right there directly. So we're going to get into a little bit of your career as well. So just kind of talking about that, because like you said, you work with the Athletic. That's how I discovered you, because I follow your content, your sources that you had. I use you as a reputable source. So overall experience of being around the team, reporting, for the Athletic and now the Atlanta Falcons throughout the transition of players and coaches, and of course getting that award there, Georgia Reporter of the Year. I think Ms. Witt also just wanted to know, the difference in the coaching styles from Arthur Smith to Raheem. Kind of just what's the locker room feel, you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's really interesting is I feel the connection between the coaches and the players with Raheem Morris and his staff. And I think that Raheem y'all have seen everything that we've done with him. And he is somebody who I think is a player's first coach, but he also is very charismatic and he's very boisterous. And he, I think that he really likes the idea of being a CEO of a football team, not just calling plays for one side of the ball, but kind of holistically bringing the building together. And that was something that I felt pretty immediately when he got into the building and when he started building his staff and everything like that. And I mean, he's just a very infectious personality, very energetic personality that I think is something that players gravitate towards. And I covered him when I was with the Athletic, when he was the defensive coordinator and then the interim head coach. And he's the same guy that he was then, just, with a bit more, this is more of like his show and what he's doing and the culture that he wants to infuse into this organization. So it's been very interesting to see kind of where he was in 2020 and how that ended to now where he is. And you hope, even though this past year didn't go the way that they wanted to, you hope for someone who has the connections like Raheem does and who people genuinely like, you want to see succeed.
Okay, and I guess the comparison to, the field when it was Arthur Smith, and of course she was with Athletic when he was defensive coordinator. Do you feel that it is a different atmosphere with the two different coaches? Arthur Smith, he's the brotherhood. He's the, no, that was Dan Quinn, excuse me. Arthur Smith and his, I felt like he had snark remarks and things like that. It's like, I don't even want to, he was very sarcastic, I felt. What do you think about that, Pam? And yeah, was there a difference in between the two?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I definitely felt that it was very different. Like to what I said, it was just kind of like Raheem came in and it was a bit more of like family environment. And he was all about like bringing everybody together and really wanting that to be a part of what he did as the head coach. And it felt very connected and that anybody in the building could talk to anybody else and that it wasn't going to be weird or awkward or anything like that. Like we're all just people trying to do our jobs and, we want to be there. And I think that was something that when Raheem got in, it was very much like how much he cares about the people in the building. I could feel that right away.
Anybody want to follow up with that, or then we can move on to the next?
So after the season not going the way it went, how was the feel when all the players were doing locker room cleanup and seeing how it seemed a bit defeated when Arthur Smith left, and you could tell the players were tired. You could tell there was a bit of animosity in the air compared to this year where it seemed a little bit more hopeful.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that there was this overarching sense of that they felt really good about where the offense ended. And I think that it was feeling really confident about Michael Penix and Drake London and Bijan Robinson and what they were able to do together in a very, very short amount of time. I do think that there was a bit of hope in that. And I think it's hope that's going to carry through this offseason and into 2025 when that season starts. And I think though still there was a lot of I don't know what exactly the word is, but dejection is the best one that I think I can use, is that I think everyone in that locker room on locker cleanout day especially knew that the Falcons in 2024 did not reach the pinnacle of what they thought their potential was. And I think there are a lot of people that felt like the team fell short in a lot of areas. And I think that weighed pretty heavily on these guys, because I think that there was so many expectations and hope and promise and potential going into the season that when you're essentially one game better record-wise from the year before, it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And it wasn't, yes, there was a little bit of that hope because you could see the pieces and you knew that guys had really good individual seasons and it didn't come together collectively. But I do think that the overarching theme was that expectations and potential wasn't reached. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, I agree. And what I did say, I was like, if we can see any type of improvement from this team, I'm clearly happy about that. I definitely wasn't thinking Super Bowl or bust at this point, because I feel like we're still developing into our identity at this point, coming in with a head coach that's head coaching for us for the first time, Terry, and some of the roles did change a little bit. So I said, give it a couple of years for us to really, truly see where this team is going. And of course, we'll see that in the draft, probably the free agency. But we're going to go ahead into the next conversation here. The difference is hope for next season. Yeah, I agree with that. It's like the players are, I think it was a sigh of relief when they kind of, and that's just us as fans looking from the outside. Some of the players in those interviews were just basically like, yes, now we have this guy, running the show. They're excited about that. He brings that even from the initial interview, his press conference. It was just like, I was ready to suit up and, be a part of the team the way he motivated those guys. So that goes a long, long entire way. But let's get to the next part of it. So speaking of overall thoughts on how Terry and Raheem handled this season. Of course, you kind of reiterate on it a little bit, but just them being in that role together, how do you feel they did overall?
Yeah, I thought that the fact that they were able to hit the ground running fairly quickly after Raheem was hired and kind of just go straight into this partnership and figure out how they wanted to construct the roster. And I mean, they wanted to go after Kirk Cousins. They wanted to draft Michael Penix Jr. The first domino to fall for Raheem and Terry had to be that quarterback position because of essentially the quarterback purgatory that they lived in since the days of Matt Ryan. And they didn't want to have to do that anymore. And, it didn't work out the way that I think anybody thought it was going to. Terry Fano has said, they were hoping they were going to get a longer leash with Kirk Cousins, upwards of 2-3 years before Michael Penix would ever really come into his own and really be expected to take over. That didn't happen. They had to accelerate the process. And I think that changes the way that you feel about the moves made in the offseason of 2024. And I think that someone like Matthew Judon, who you trade for and you send a third-round pick up to New England for, maybe doesn't have the production that you were hoping and expecting. And that's kind of a tough pill to swallow. And then also the fact that you have with the whole Kirk Cousins-ness of it all, and knowing that you're going to be paying a backup quarterback $40 million, it's tough. Like it's a situation where you understood the moves when they were being made, but we're now looking at it in hindsight, and it's really tough to kind of sit there and be like, now knowing what moves they need to make in order to be better, especially defensively, it's like, do you have the draft capital and or the cap space to be able to go and make the moves that you need to in order to be competitive in this league? And those are the questions that now you really, really have to answer, because what happened in 2024, to the point that I was making earlier, it wasn't meeting expectations, and it doesn't feel good to not do that and not be that, especially when you feel like the individual pieces of this roster are really, really good. And some guys had some really solid years of production, and they get overshadowed because the team itself is not winning.
Okay. And Ms. Pam, you have anything to follow up on that one?
With the Pro Bowl, did you cover some of the Pro Bowls?
No, so I didn't go down to Orlando this year. I was very much like, because of how it worked out with Jeff Ulbrich coming in, and we were doing that. It was the same week. And so we had like our social team and some videographers that went down to the Pro Bowl with Chris Lindstrom, Kadarrell Hodge, and Bijan Robinson. And some of us stayed back for Jeff Ulbrich's introduction.
My quick question is, like Matt Ryan went to a Pro Bowl one year and actually recruited Alex Mack to kind of come on to the team. I'm thinking, with the three guys that's on the team, what is the opportunity of us kind of, hey, Atlanta is not a bad place. They kind of do their own recruitment for the team for the following year, for this year.
I think it's interesting because I go back to the situation last year with Justin Simmons, and how he was somebody who was looking, to go to a contender is what he wanted. He wanted to be able to go to the playoffs. He'd never been before in his career. And he saw what was happening with Raheem Morris coming to Atlanta, and Jesse Bates III in the secondary, and AJ Terrell. And they really sold him on coming to Atlanta and signing with Atlanta. And what's unfortunate is that it didn't work out. So like those conversations, I feel like with guys, everybody's friends, everybody hangs out in the off season and sees different guys. Like, it's never lost on me when you get a guy who says, I really wanted to come and play with Jesse Bates, or I really wanted to come and play with Bijan Robinson. I think that's something all the time when you're talking about like free agents and guys who are making decisions as to where to go. Like those are always big time pools for some of those guys.
Yes.
We had that big with Cordell Patterson. He was like the recruitment man. He was very hyped before he was let go. But I think they do have conversations with one another's background. I think, who was it? It might have been either Kyle Pitts or somebody that was just very verbal. It's like, hey, get this man here. I forgot which players that was, but a lot of these players was happy to come here. I think one of the players that came on, he was already like, tell them to call me. It was that situation where it was like, I'm excited to just be a part of this organization because of what's happening here. Good question, Pam.
I kind of saw Kadarrell Hodge and Michael Parsons kind of having a conversation. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on at that.
Then also, Bijan just also had an interview with Michael Parsons, and then we got not our Myles Garrett, but the other Myles Garrett. He's potentially open. That's the big news that's coming out. So maybe there could be some magic up in there. But Tori, I wanted to ask you really quick. Now that Rich is not necessarily on the football operation side of things, have you noticed a difference when it comes to how they've been operating? When it has, now that Rich McKay, which a lot of fans, including myself, we are happy about that. Is it a difference? Have you noticed?
Not really. I think that those conversations don't happen while I'm around. And I'm not in
behind the scene.
If there are those conversations happening, like those are conversations that are happening with Terry, Raheem, Rich McKay, Arthur Blank, like the decision makers of this organization, not with me. So I can't speak to how much or how little it's changed for that relationship.
Okay, and our next question is, thank you, Ms. Witt. That was a good question. We'll move it right along. Let's get into, I kind of want to talk about that interview you had. You know, we caught everybody that's on AtlantaFalcons.com, social media, everywhere you can find Atlanta Falcons content, the official page. She had an interview with Jeff Overage. How are you feeling about the direction of defense, you know, and what do you think are some needs that we need to address now that we have him as coordinator?
Yeah, I was really interested to see how the interview with Jeff Ulbrich went, because I know that there are a lot of fans who were not happy with the decision to bring him back as defensive coordinator. And it kind of felt like I've been there, done that. It didn't work out the first time. Why are you trying it again? And I have to say that sitting down with him and asking those questions and kind of being like, look, like, there is a loud faction of the fan base, a very passionate faction of the fan base that doesn't necessarily agree with this decision. Like, what would you say to them to put their trust into you and what you want to do from a defensive standpoint? And I thought his answer to that was very well said, because he essentially was like, I'm not the same person who I was 4 years ago. And the experiences that I've had and the ability that I've had to call the games, and honestly, having to work under Robert Saleh, and Robert Saleh giving him the freedom to put the defensive game plan together, I think it was very important for him to talk about. And I kind of am sitting there like, you know what, I'm not, from a personal standpoint, I'm not the same person that I was 4 years ago. And I feel like we should be giving a little bit of grace to individuals, knowing that this is what life is that we grow and evolve. So I wrote a column a couple weeks ago just about, you know what, like, give him the chance to show you that things are different. And if not, then you can come back and say, I told you so, and we'll move on and everything will be, you know, what it is. But at least give him the chance to show you who he is and how he's evolved and what type of defense that this group could put together, because this is going to be a very big off season for this defense specifically. With a lot of holes that you've got to fill. You have starters that you have to have conversations about. Like, there is, I don't think it's going to be a giant overhaul of the defense. I think you have like your cornerstones. However, I do think you have to make a lot of really big decisions, whether it be in free agency or the draft, about what type of player you're bringing in and how different this defense could look from 2024 to 2025. Because I think, like, if we're just talking about the draft, like, you have the number 15 overall pick. For me personally, and this isn't like anything but me, if I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's prime real estate for an edge rusher. It's prime real estate for a corner. You need so that's kind of the priority at this point.
And I want to add to that, Tori, because keep giving to his resume as far as what he played as, you know, when he was playing football. He's a, you know, linebacker, you know, so he can kind of, you know, that experience to kind of get that going. And, you know, we pick up somebody in defensive side. I feel that's a good influence at this point. And of course, like you said, 4 years ago, you're not the same. Everybody gain more skills, more experience, and then you're more mature. You learn from your mistakes, and you're a better person at that. So I feel like, but I think with the, you know, our fan base, we're just so we're passionate. So it's like, okay, it's been 50 plus years now. It's like, you know, when is the last time we had a defense, you know, that
trust me, I get it 100%. Like, that is absolutely, when I got the news that like it was going to be Jeff Ulbrich, I knew exactly what the fan base reaction was going to be. And I can't blame them for asking the questions or for being passionate about it. This is their team. So that was why I wanted to give Jeff Ulbrich the opportunity to address those people. And the people who were really passionate about the decision one way or the other, like, at least giving him the opportunity to say his piece about it, so that hopefully in my case, like it shows people that, hey, this is a guy who's evolved and changed, and at least give him a chance to figure it out.
Okay, anybody else want to add to that? And then we can move on to the next.
That interview, like I said, he was not my first choice, but when you did that interview, that convinced me to go ahead and he was the right man for the job, to give him a chance, you know. So as a Falcon fan, I'm very happy with the hire. I mean, he wants to be here, so that's all that matter. You want a coach that wants to be here, and you want a coach that's gonna put his DNA in that defense. So he pretty much from that interview tell you that he was going to make the calls and he's going to run that defense.
Yeah.
And so as a fan, I'm comfortable with that decision.
So in a way, it was a great thing that you've had that interview, because it did kind of put some people at ease. I've seen a lot of conversations about, you know what, I feel a little bit better after that. So, you know, you spotlighting them like that is great, because that's what we need as a fan base. It's like, we're nervous here. You know, we're switching coordinators and coaches and everything else. It's like, can we be consistent for a moment here? But let's go ahead and go to the next one. You good? You have anything else to follow up on that?
No, pretty much good. Miss Pam had the same sentiments I had, is that he wasn't my first choice, and I was like, oh, Dan Quinn era 2.0. But I felt like he actually explained himself really well. I'm excited to see how definitely one of the things that stuck out to me was the mix of scheme, because a lot of us have been complaining for years about the scheme of not having the appropriate bodies for that scheme, or that we're not playing players in the correct positions that they need to be in. So definitely let him pointing out that this isn't the same league. You have to, you could be picked off, and that was refreshing to hear that he's a former player. He actually had a really good defense, top 5 with the Jets, even though his interim time as head coach was unsuccessful. We all know why. But it was great to hear. And while I'm still on the Raheem train, Raheem the Dream, it was really shaky with him hiring Jimmy in the first place. We all figured that he was going to be a scapegoat in some sense, even though all of us agreed how things were going, and Ra having to step in and try to get the defense together, and where we ended up at the end of the year. That I'm excited to see where we go. It's just, what are we going to do about we in cap hell, excuse my language, and how are we going to get those premier players so we can officially, even though record-wise we did beat the South, but we didn't make it to the playoffs. We wasn't the division winners. So I'm interested to see what changes they make in the draft. How do you play in free agency? And how do you guys, knowing that we got a great offense that's getting ready to come up, how do you complement that? So I was excited he spoke to those things.
I love that, what you mentioned, Whit. So it's kind of leading into our next question for her. And let's talk about it. She brought it up earlier, paying Kirk, you know, to be a backup. So do you believe Kirk will remain with Michael Penix starting? And what is your direction of the offense and their draft needs at this point?
Here's the thing: is I'll start with the Kirk Cousins of it all. Ultimately, I think that the Falcons' hands are tied, and because if you look at his contract, he does have a no trade clause. If the Falcons were to cut him, that's a lot of money that's just going out the window. It's a lot of dead money. It's money that's tied up, and you can't do anything with it. And for me, the only viable option for the Falcons would be, if you're looking at his contract, is to trade him. However, he does have a no trade clause. So he would have to be okay with the trade. The Falcons would have to be okay with the trade, and the team taking on whatever the Falcons need them to in terms of his base salary would need to be okay with the trade. So there's a lot of contract stuff and a lot of moving parts that it's really hard to predict which way it's going to go. I think the fact that Terry Fontenot came out and said that we are moving forward with Kirk as the backup, I think is very interesting. I think that means that if I'm reading the tea leaves, to me, that means that they would be open to trading him if it was something that he would be okay with. But again, you can only do that if he's willing to do that. You can't just trade him. That's because that's not how his contract's made up. So there's a lot of moving parts. It's really difficult to know which way it's going to go. And I know Kirk Cousins said the last time that we spoke to him in his press conference when the decision was made to go to Michael Penix is that he does think that he can still be a starting quarterback in this league. And he's like, I didn't forget how to play the quarterback position. And so if not here, can he go somewhere else and have success? I don't know. The problem is the contract. And if he wants another shot, he's going to have to be okay with being traded.
Can I add to that, Tori? And I'm from based on what he said when he first came here. You know, his family, you know, his wife got ties here in Georgia. He said, I just want to be in Atlanta. And pretty much, I think that was his retirement type of conversation. And if you look at it just a little bit. So I think to me, he might be saying he's comfortable with being a backup. Because let's look at the last time we've had a real solid backup that we can rely on in case, you know, knock on wood, there is a need for one. You know, if they decide to stick with him, then we have a pretty decent quarterback that we can play around with that a little bit when we're leading the game. And it's like, you know what, sit Penix down. Let's bring Kirk back in here, you know, for the last couple, like preseason or whatever. You see what I'm saying? He can still be a veteran in a locker room presence and a practice team influence. So it's going to be a tough situation there, but I'm trying to look at the optimistic side of it. If we do decide to keep him, it's like, okay, if he feels that he's still ready to be a top guy, it's going to be competition out there. Prove yourself.
Yeah. I think like you got to listen to what Bijan Robinson said in the podcast that he did with Michael Parsons, where he's talking about how Kirk Cousins is the ultimate professional and that he was there for Michael Penix and helped him and did everything that he was supposed to do as a veteran. And, you know, even Bijan's like, I don't know if I could have done that. And I don't know, the respect that I think Kirk Cousins gained from the locker room, kind of handling his business the way he did the last month of the season, I think speaks a lot to who he is and also how this locker room values him.
Yes.
Now, does that mean that the Falcons are going to keep him on the roster or that he wants to stay in Atlanta? It could be a moot point. So who's to say?
We just have to kind of see how it plays out. And then, of course, the draft will make that huge decision. So I guess it's just kind of waiting at this point. We can only speculate and make our little fake mock drafts and, you know, what if and how can we take the cut. And like one thing about Terry, he was brought here from New Orleans because he was good at getting around that cap space and figuring some things out with these players that had those 1 to 2 year deals. And now a lot of them are free agents. So it's going to be fairly interesting. Like she brought up earlier about some of these veterans that we're going to have some conversations with that you might see the revolving door going around. So last question here. Speaking of players and conversations, rumors are circling around Kyle Pitts. A lot of it is, you know, basically I forgot who they said the Panthers are possibly, you know, it's rumors. There's plenty of rumors of what scenario worked best for him. What are your thoughts on that as far as his trade?
Yeah, so he's playing on his 5th-year option. So the only course for the Falcons to not have to pay out that almost $11 million in cap money is if they trade him. And if the team that they trade him to would take on that 5th-year option and how much money he's playing on in 2025. Is a team willing to do that? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. I saw, you know, people, the prevailing thing that I've seen today with Myles Garrett kind of saying that he wants to be traded is that everybody's like, pack up Kirk, And pack up. I think
pack up everybody.
a couple first round picks, and it's like
they said hit the road, Jack, and take
right. So that's what I think a lot of people are saying, and I think that's what a lot of people in the Falcons nation is kind of clamoring for. I don't know what it's going to take to get Myles Garrett, and I also don't. If I don't know if I feel like the Falcons at this point in time are in the position where one player is going to change the overall course of an entire defense. I don't know if that's going to be the case, as good as Myles Garrett is. I mean, we're talking about the premier of all premier edge rushers in the game right now. So, but is there a realm in which Kyle Pitts could be packaged? Yes, there is. But I don't know. Again, we're still very early in this offseason. And I'm going to be really curious to see how aggressive the Falcons are in free agency, because I feel like according to how aggressive they are in free agency, we'll be able to dictate kind of where they go in the draft and what they're valuing in the draft. So when it comes to Kyle Pitts, he's an option. He's a chess piece that you can move around and you can figure out things for. And if you keep him, you keep him, and he plays on his 5th-year option, and then you decide where things go from there. Or maybe there's a team out there that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to add to that. You had some good points there. It's kind of just a wait and see again with this situation. Is kind of what they're going to do in free agency. I mean, I feel like offensively we're pretty decent. Maybe a couple more pieces. And now that Penix can start with the team, practice with the first team, other than him coming from, not getting that experience until the end of the season. Now we starting a whole off season with him coming in, starting, so he's getting connected with those players. So it's going to make a difference. And they kind of moved the coaching situation. They was like, you know what, defense, get them out of here. So they're addressing some of the concerns. So I feel personally they're going to go defense in the draft and maybe draft back and get more picks, in my opinion. But we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, somebody's going to have to be, a pawn in this situation. So Ed Collar said the Browns might let us off the hook again like they did with D. Watson. And Terry needs to be in Cleveland having dinner with the Browns front office now.
He ain't going to Cleveland. He's not going to Cleveland. That's too cold. He's not going up there.
Please Kyle Pitts alone. He and Penix is ready to cook. So some people are just saying, keep him here. And it's not a bad situation to keep him here. We just got to make sure that we can just, like before, give him a chance. It's a lot of coaching changes and things like that. So we're going to be optimistic here. So Ms. Tori, we're going to go ahead and ask your final, just what is your final thoughts about the Falcons, and then just give us your project, what's coming up for you.
Yeah. So I think just final thoughts, this is going to be a very interesting offseason, and it's going to be the crux of, I think, Terry Fontenot in this front office and how they move forward strategically. And you need to win more games in 2025, point blank period. And I would say that you need to be making playoff pushes, and you need to be atop the NFC South. These are all things that I think we said going into 2024, but I do think that this is kind of the crux. This is the 2025 is the year that you need to make things happen, and wins need to be accounted for. And then as for what's next, gosh, a whole slate of off-season content. I mean, the grind never stops. I mean, we're in kind of a lull right now, and I am going to take some much needed time off, because the girl not really had much time at all to herself in the last, honestly, ever since Arthur Smith was let go. You just keep going, you keep doing things. It was the busiest off season that I have ever had last off season. So I'm ready for things to slow down. And but hey, it doesn't stop. We still got the combine coming up at the end of the month, and free agency, and then the draft, and then we're doing it all over again. So it's just there's always something.
in case everybody don't know who she is, I put her banner up there. I mean, her picture. But we have a little hard-hitting question right there from the, because us Falcons fans, it's like we want the questions to be asked, and we want, they want to hear the answer that they want you to say.
Right.
But being that you are directly with the Atlanta Falcons, is there like a protocol of, I think last person we had, she was basically saying that, we have to, be on the positive side of the Falcons content and encourage and, not a lot of negativity and things like that. So that question right there, as an official Falcon spokesperson, how hard is for you to bite your tongue and not say what you really feel? Is that a tough question?
It's not tough, and I think it's fair. And I think my answer to that is that I'm always going to be fair in my analysis, good or bad. And if I wouldn't say something to a player or a coach standing in front of me, I'm not going to say it in general. I am around these guys, and I see them every single day. There needs to be a level of respect going both ways, and I feel as though when I do have things to say that are on the negative side, I back it up with facts, and I back it up with what the players and coaches themselves are saying. I'm not saying anything that they themselves haven't said or is not backed up by statistical analysis. So for me, there are times where it's like, oh, I don't know exactly how to say this, and I don't want to come across too harsh. Of course, like being a person whose entire job is to talk about this team, while I also have an office right down the hall from the locker room, like it's tough. It's a weird balance, and it's a lot of gray area. And there are some times where you have to find the line, and you may be taking a step too far and have to reel yourself back in, or you may not go far enough because you're worried about it. So yeah. I always just answer that question where I'm always going to be fair. I'm always going to be fair in my analysis, and I'm always going to care about the weight of my words and the impact that they could have. I love my job, and this is where I want to be and where I want to continue to be. So I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize that.
Mm-hmm. That's a great answer. And I feel like, because we do have some bloggers and things like that, they like to have that what they call clickbait, where it's just like, you finna get I'm putting this story out here without my facts and things like that, just to get a reaction out of you guys. Click on our article. So there's a lot of scare tactics and rumors going around, and we might trade this person. So that's why I said people always go to credible sources that will back it up with facts, and then do your own research. It's open knowledge. As far as the record, what's happening with the team, the press conferences, I'm feeling like they're very transparent of what they're doing, how they're going to do it. So just do your due diligence. And AtlantaFalcons.com, that's the website. Look it up. You got everything, everybody's stats. You can Google it. So don't be blinded by somebody trying to persuade you that there's chaos in the locker room, or Raheem doesn't get along with this person. You know how those stories kind of get all.
There's always something.
Threw his headset down. He must be angry at Drake London. And it's like, come on, people. We don't know. These people are just passionate as much as us. Yes. They're frustrated. But thank you for being transparent with us tonight, and taking your time out. I know you are on a busy schedule. We look forward to seeing all the off-season content. As long as you're bringing out content, we got things to talk about. Isn't that right, Cam?
Definitely, for sure.
So we want to thank you again. You are welcome to come on back. I'm going to go ahead and let you have your evening. You have a great one.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me come on. Appreciate it, you guys.
No problem. You're welcome. All right.
That was great.
That was great. I don't know what happened to Miss
Whitney.
Whitney, she probably had to deal with the baby. So, but hey, she was here for the part of the conversation. I'm excited about that. So how do you feel?
How I feel about the interview went good. I got a lot out of that. And I wish I could have asked her about the undrafted free agent about, you know, because we got Drew Darman. That's the big key piece that they gotta sign, and of course Cadell Hodge, they gotta sign those two pieces. But other than that, it depends on what they do in free agency and in the, and it's how we gonna draft. The key is they got to definitely put pieces around Micah Penix, because he is your franchise quarterback, and he is the quarterback that y'all gotta protect his blind side. So hopefully, you know, they'll address it either way, you know. But we'll see. I'm just excited to see what they're gonna do. That's it.
Yeah, and so it's, you know, as she said, February is things rolling up, so it's like getting ready to be busy. So Lady Birds might be here. I was trying to give us a little break, but
we're gonna be here.
And of course, if you guys want to be a part of the show, you can definitely email me, find me on social media, Maggie T Productions, Maggietproductions at Gmail. Follow me, like let me know, hey, I want to come on and talk some football. And you don't even have to be a fan of the Falcons. We just appreciate you guys tuning in. Speaking of, let's go ahead and do some paying some bills here.
Yes.
Of course, I would like for everybody, July 26th is the Red and Black event.
That's
so
a big event.
Any donation that you give, that's $ Atlanta Falcons Nation, on Cash App. We have a GoFundMe. Please look in the description of this video so you can get that. Donate, people, because as you've seen, like this is our 3rd annual now, and I always try to keep it open to where it's open bar. I think now that I have been told that we may have to switch our location again. But we will announce the new details of everything because, of course, that location just didn't work out for us. But we got time, so it's going to be AC'd. You know, you'll be comfortable, and there's space for everybody. So, with that, I just want everybody to donate, super chats, whatever you're doing to donate. Those proceeds will go to the Educations Fund. Atlanta AFN Educations Fund. We're going to give back to the teachers. You know, because they're come out of pocket after they get their budget for the year. To, you know, and there's viruses and things are going down around, so they need sanitizer. They need, you know, paper towels, things that tissue. You know, especially those elementary kids. And Lord, they, you know, parents just drop them off like it's daycare. And I just heard a school had to, you know, shut down everything for the weekend so they can sanitize. So, you know, don't think just when they start school is enough. No, they need that year round. So any donation you provide, you can write it off as tax write-off as well. That way you can, you know, get, you know, make that credit for you. But let's go ahead and get into some of these comments. Top of the evening. Don't give away the team, but do what need to do to grab Miles Garrett and hope Braylon Price is who we want him to be. So everybody want to say, we're gonna give them a slight little deal with Kyle Pitts in there. Maybe a Grady Jarrett, and then
they got a lot of free agent out there to be gotten. You know, Khalil Mack is my personal favorite. I was mad to Raider pick him right before we did. You know, so I wouldn't mind having Khalil Mack back on our team. Get our team.
It said Pitts, London with more time with Penix, but I will keep Mooney for show though. So some people are saying just keep him over here. Give him an opportunity to work with Penix as a starter, you know. But it is his 5th-year option. So of course we could kind of just sit there and be pretty with it for, you know, for another year. Let's see. Everybody wants Miles Garrett, but y'all know that we already got one in our head with Mr. Kirk. So you know, y'all really trying to, you know, get rid of our first round and our cousins and friends and everything that goes with it.
We got giving up that first round. I don't know about that. We need all our picks we can get now. If anything, we need to trade back. We need to get. We just need to address the problems on this team. You know, one person can't solve it. Is my opinion. You know, he's nice, but we got to add pieces now. There gonna be some holes. I mean, we gotta address that center. Hopefully, we sign Drew Darman, but we'll see. Like I said,
We'll see. Miss Witt. So how do you feel about the interview and anything you want to add? We're kind of just freestyling at this point. Probably won't go on too much longer.
Oh, it was a great interview. It's always a pleasure to have Tori and to know that Maggie T is able to get the tea with, especially when it comes to the reporters and the Falcons. So I love
yes,
it that we was able to talk to her and get some insight and to
yes.
get their actual opinion outside of them being in their journalistic mode, for them to just have a one-on-one conversation and be on the other side of the mic. So I always enjoy having our wonderful journalists on the Lady Birds of AFN show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
The
I'm
special edition, the special Monday edition, I could
just,
say.
I know,
Special
because everybody like,
Monday
so y'all
edition.
on. Speaking of, let me go ahead and put this in the media. Let me put this up
Yes,
here too.
yes,
Because we are coming on tomorrow
yes.
at the regular time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because Tori she said she's busy. I can't get the picture to pull up. I'm gonna go in
Uh-oh.
and pull it out. Well, maybe I'll do it this way. I'll put this other picture.
Yeah.
We have a special guest tomorrow night. Now we don't have the journalist come in and give us her perspective, but we have the myth.
Let's see if they could guess it. Let's see if we could get a couple of guesses.
I probably gave up the clues on my Facebook page.
Go ahead and get the clues. And while y'all doing, I'm gonna go ahead and get this picture together. It's acting up for me. Hold on.
Come
Oh,
on,
he's
come on, Lady Bird fans. Come on,
he-
give us what y'all think. Who y'all think we gonna have tomorrow?
I can give one hint if y'all want me to. He's known as a predator. Any guesses?
Come on. We know y'all getting them fingers together. I know it's a Monday. Y'all probably tired. It's the top of the week, but come on, Maggie did this on work. Y'all got to give us some guesses.
And no, you can cheat and look at the show lineup. I mean, you could cheat, but we want to have a dramatic.
They can check my Facebook page because I posted it.
This is not.
I wish it was Jesse Talk.
Let's see who else saying it. Who's saying it? Just I don't know. Is it?
Oh.
Is it Jessica?
The Predator?
Maybe we got some kicking too. Ooh.
He's one of. We still haven't had a pass rusher. Just saying.
Yeah.
Back in that 90 something time frame, Patrick.
Talk about the Patrick Mahomes, baby. No.
Oh, he's busy. He's at the Super Bowl right now. He's doing the pre-games and everything else. He's doing them pre-interviews. So he's busy. He's got a busy schedule.
Okay, bear with me. I wanted to get this picture on here so we. There we go.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding,
There
ding,
we
ding.
go.
There you go. There you go.
You don't get a prize.
Ding, 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 ding.
I was trying to put this picture up here. Now it's gonna finally upload. No, it's not. I'm not even gonna worry about it today. But Mr. John, hey, bam, he will be in the building tomorrow night, same time that we always air. So yes, this was a special doubleheader, baseball terms. But yeah, we got John Abraham going to be here. Yeah. So we get the journalist perspective. Now we get the former football player of the Atlanta Falcons and still an advocate and still around the Falcons currently. Somebody that I found when I was going through some things with my own mental. He was like a best buddy for me, where he didn't look at his status, or who he was and turn me away from inboxing him. He encouraged it because he was also, and you'll hear a lot about it, dealing with his own mental health at some point. So from his research and study and him getting well and being public about it, because you can go on his wall, he had a whole dialogue about his mental health journey. He's in a great place. So we're going to hear a lot about that, but goodness gracious, we get ready to have Abraham on the show tomorrow. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm excited about that. Chris Draft. I have messaged Chris Draft. I'm still waiting on him to give me a confirmation, but he's open to it. But Chris Draft is also busy. I spoke out to Michael Turner. He's responded to me. But we got to confirm some things. So I don't want to put that announcement out there until, that is official. But look, it's going to be surprising. So please put the alert bell on your list. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that notification bell because it's going to let you know when we're live. We will announce it too. And if you want to be a guest, please join. Oh, yes, the burner, y'all. I'm trying to get them.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get them.
We trying, but again, make sure y'all put it on all the major Atlanta Falcons fan pages. Make sure y'all put us out there.
Yes, like Ladybird
for y'all.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually met Brian Freenery over in London, so I got a nice picture with him in my book.
Okay, so the man, the myth, the legend. I'm excited about that, even though I can't get the picture up there. I'm, sometimes you StreamYard be on something, but let's go ahead. Any last questions from the audience? We can do this Q&A, and then we can go ahead and close this one out since we got another show tomorrow. I'll give you a couple of minutes to ask a question. From there, we're probably just going to go ahead and say good night so y'all can come back on here fresh, early, cotton-tailed, ready to go for the next interview. Because this man here, he even asked me, he said, can I speak freely? Yes, sir. So,
yes, sir.
Yes.
Be mindful that you're gonna get the raw effect from the man.
Ain't no cage birds over here.
Any questions, anybody? Any questions? Drake, get Drake. Well,
I would love to have Drake. I would love to have Bijan on the show.
I would love to get a current player, but we love our alumni too. We love our old players that still come and support. They still be advocates of our team. Shoot, we're still in our first year, y'all. We gonna get to some players. We're
trying to get them media passes. So if you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, sure, these ladies right here get some media passes so we can get up in there and interview these people. We can have at least one of them in the locker room. Like, hey, I can't make it, but Miss Pam or Miss Witt can. Let's go.
Miss Pam will probably definitely be in there. She got all the season passes.
We're gonna work on Pam's media pass, and I'll recruit them and get them interviewed. How about that? Nice show. Thank you. Y'all are so beautiful, queens. Great show. Thank you. Yeah, we're not going to hold you up too much. I see not a lot of questions because it's really, what can we ask? Right now we have to wait on presidency and see the moves they're going to make. Thank you, Atlanta Falcons Pandemic. We'll probably have a special episode to let the fans on eventually.
AT Leo.
I want to be like Auntie Pam when I grow up.
Everybody want to be like me.
It's that rep. You gotta, treat other guests the right way, and they will like. This is the third time Tori came on here, so never directly with the Atlanta Falcons. Maggie builds rapport. So if anything, getting those, like she says, everywhere, and let them know the Ladybirds want to talk to you. Ladybirds of AFN. Hey, ladies. What was Jerome? He said, "How much cap space?"
Look at Xavier remark
about DJ Shockley. We need to tap on the shoulder to try to get it from Miles Garrett way and from Tori's way to try to get even.
I tried to inbox him. He ain't looked at it yet.
He didn't look at it.
So we working on it, lady.
Working on it. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Maggie. Go ahead.
It said, well, how much cap space do you think we will free up?
I think we're gonna be walking a tightrope at least next year.
Yeah, because this contract situation with Kirk is kind of a damn if we do, damn if we don't type of situation, because it's like, what can we do that's smart, budget friendly, and so I think a lot of it's gonna come from the free agency, and then draft, then of course unsigned free agents at the end of that, undrafted players. After that, so
then probably
some a lot of bargain shopping outfield. So as far as how much cap, it really depends on the big man and a couple of these contracts that are, tradable situations. If somebody want to take up some options, and who's to say? But you can put in the chat, Jerome, if you have an idea.
Our scouting department definitely got to be busy. Got to go find those diamond in the rough. Getting back, I did a mock draft with Coach Unchained last year. I did it right after the after the combine. That's when I in the free agent, down draft for free agent. So that was fun. That was my first one I ever done with him. So I'm trying to recruit these ladies to go on his show and actually do one. And he
actually requested to come on the show.
Yeah,
he's requested to come on the show. So
he said you don't have to show your face. You can be camera out and do it. That's what he said.
So you can have your research, So like I said, we have a couple of interviews lined up. So once we kind of get past that, we'll have some mock draft situations coming in because things are going to change actually because of the free agency.
Yes.
So everything that you're doing now possibly would change depending on how everybody is ranking at a certain point. So good question. He's been in my inbox about it. So
and I'm gonna go do one with him. So I will definitely be on his show to do one.
Okay.
And I kind of threw Chrissy name under the bus there. So they want Chrissy on that show.
Well, let's do it. He wants to come here.
He wants everybody. He wants all the Ladiesburg to come on.
Mm-hmm. So we can have one on here. So we'll set that up.
We can invite him on here. We can invite him on here if we want to.
He said it after our regulator show. He was like, "Yeah, y'all coming on." So I said, "Okay, he's coming on." So I got faith that Terry will get us through the Kirk Cousins contract, Atlanta Falcons pandemic. So do y'all ladies, Pitt's definitely going to be gone, or is there some chance him and Penix go to at least try to build some chemistry? We kind of talked about that earlier with Tori. The only thing can happen is a trade situation where they do take up that 5th-year option. That's the only, predicament we could think of. But at the same time, do you just sit and wait a little bit and just kind of let them play that last option out and think about that another time? So right now, who's to say? We just have to what are they signing to get rid of? And as far as some players that are rumored to come here, he may be a casualty.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. But as far as is there a chance? It's one of those wait and see situations, Jerome. I don't want to predict anything. I feel like he is a pawn right about now. So it can go any way. It could. He can be, like I said, the Panthers, they're looking for tight ends at this situation, at this point. So they like, let's go ahead and get, even though it's a rival, but there are rumors about the Panthers are eyeing Kyle Pitts. So I trust her as far as who he signed in free agency. I'm interested to see how he drafts defensive players in the first round. This year could be the first time he takes a defender. I hope.
So some people think he might not. So we should see. We should wait and see. I was surprised about the Michael Penix pick. I think we were all surprised about that.
I think with the Michael Penix pick, they were looking at the quarterback situation going into the next round. It was like, let's get our guy now. I think that move was because of that. It's just let's get him now. So hopefully we don't win offense the last few years. It's time to go defense.
I agree.
That's some of our biggest holes, that we need to fill. Personally, I like to keep him because of everyone saying he a victim of bad quarterback play. So
I don't know. Okay. We'll see.
We'll see. But we're gonna make it a short and sweet episode because we do have another one with John A. tomorrow. And I gotta get this child to bed anyway, because he's making noise. So on that note, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Ladies, let's remind everybody who we are again, the Lady Birds of AFN. So let us know how to find you and your last thoughts, Miss Pam.
Y'all can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook as Pamela Holcomb Johnson if y'all want to befriend me. I'm on Instagram, PAMICHJOH. I mean and it's on Twitter as well. The same logo.
Okay.
So and then I'm here every Tuesday at 8 if it allow until otherwise.
Talk about I'm trying. I said, if we start dying down, there's not a lot of content until the end of the month. But if we have interviews, at least we can let them speak, and you get to hear some other voices and expert opinions. That's what I'm gearing towards, because guess what? We are still in season 1 of the Lady Birds, and we are definitely growing. And Miss Witt, go ahead and close it on out as well.
Well, y'all know I'm looking forward to tomorrow, but if you want to follow me, it is Alluring Enigma 08. Where you think I get the 08 from? That's on IG. Is Alluring_Enigma on 08 on X, aka Twitter, even though I don't use it all the time for personal reasons. But of course, it's Whitney Jenkins on Facebook. And yeah, I'm so excited that we're almost to a year here on the Lady Birds, and that it's been a successful show with our lady at the helm, Ms Maggie T, and of course the rest of our crew, Miss Pam, our residential traveling Falcon lady. So it's awesome to see, and we can't wait to bring you guys more content. But make sure y'all follow.
Oh, everybody, seriously, these ladies, you guys seen me for years. It's all Ms Maggie, the only lady on the show. No. It's more of us now. So go show them some love. It's a little difference now with the lady panel. You get a different perspective of how we talk about our football, but just letting you know, we have knowledgeable ladies out there as well as the guys. So for you guys to be tuned in here, it is an honor. We love it. Thank you, Southside. I'm okay with trading picks depending on who and what we got for him. So on that note, I did have a
Maggie, one quick thing. Since y'all been hearing my loud background, I wanted to show Falcons gear on.
Hello.
So handsome.
There you go. Yes, my little Falcon fan in training.
That's right.
Definitely.
Kind of a little too quiet for me. I'm gonna go check on him in a minute, but I think he just left. And what I was going to say is I was announcing a Valentine's Lovers and Friends event that was going to be held at the playground. But unfortunately, we had to cancel that due to we're going to have to find another location to host. So I'll give you all the details of the, all the new events. So Lovers and Friends, if I find another event that we can kind of support, I'll post that in case somebody just don't want to be lonely on Valentine's Day. The purpose of the Lovers and Friends event was just people just want to get out and have a good time and not be in their living room eating chocolate that they bought themselves. Come on, people. It's not that serious, but you want to get out and, drown your sorrows in some good music and good food. I'll find the next event for us to do, because I'm going to be in the streets for Valentine's. I'm just letting you know. I'm still single, but not mingling, but single. But look at it like this. If the situation you was in was a bad situation anyway, you dodged a bullet, and be happy that you are able to wake up and heal and feel better. So don't let that, that holiday they created to make you feel bad. Be happy. It's like, you know what? I'm stress-free today. I can treat me. Let's keep it like that, people. All right. Love yourself. Give yourself a hug. Okay. All right. Till the next time, people, continue to donate to the Cash App Atlanta Falcons Nation. The GoFundMe that's in the description if you didn't heard it from the beginning. And we out, people. Good night.
Peace. Good night. Peace.
Oh, you gotta work. Well, hey, make that money, honey.